I've seen videos of people doing somatic breath work and they're like crying and shaking. This sounds super scary. So I am being joined today by Abigail Luvisi, and she is going to share how somatic breath work changed her life and why we shouldn't be scared shitless of it. Abigail is a certified trauma-focused mentor and somatic breathwork practitioner. So let's see what she has to say. It's time to get excited because you can achieve that magical combination of happiness and productivity that you've been craving. That voice that says you can't, or not now, is total mind BS. What makes people so afraid to go and do breath work?
Okay, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you were alone by yourself? Like not doing something, not driving, not journaling, not reading, not listening to music. Like you sat alone with you.
Yeah, I can totally see how that would start having a flood of emotions that would make me feel potentially out of control and self-conscious in front of other people, potentially too.
Yeah, there definitely is a dynamic doing it, virtually one-on-one in person, doing it in a group, or doing it even group virtually. So that's where I've started to kind of like see people. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do it virtual. But again, it's that piece of like, no, you got this. Like, you don't need me. Your body is intelligent and it knows what it needs to do. So allowing yourself to be able to sit in that. And if something is coming up, it's not bad. It's because it needs to express. And that's kind of like, I know something that we had talked about, like going into the next kind of question of trauma is our body doesn't understand time. So being able to give it space that, there might be shit from your past that needs to come up, but you don't have to like tap into that trauma. It's just allowing your body to tap into it. Do you see what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yes and no, because I'm still feeling that's like super scary. Because if my body taps into it, probably like a big emotion is going to come up, and I may not be aware of, the exact trauma that that emotion is coming from, but that emotion itself scares me. How do you help your
Mhm.
clients through that?
Yeah, so that is a little bit of where the mindset work in my coaching comes in, right? Is being able to lay that foundation of safety within yourself. Again, you're the gas pedal, so understanding that in breath work, you can take yourself down or take yourself up. So, yes, I hear a lot, right? Too, like, oh, well, that sounds scary. Like, oh my gosh, Pandora's box is going to open up. But you are the gas pedal and you're in charge. I'm just here to support you. And I don't think we hear that enough.
So you told me before that this is going to have like a huge release and a huge effect on some of the things that people have been carrying for a really long time. Can you tell me more about how it possibly can connect to your trauma?
It's really a matter of being able to like stretch like a rubber band, of being able to regulate our stuff, being able to regulate our nervous system to be able to fluctuate. If I am in a high anxiety space, that I know what I need and how to give myself that and have those tools of regulation. I don't know if how much you have done breath work yourself, but do you notice where you're breathing even right now?
No,
So take a moment, like, and put your hand on your chest and put your hand on your belly. Where do you breathe from?
I would say mostly my chest.
Yep. So you're already activating your nervous system, like your fight, flight, and freeze. So if
Interesting.
you walk away with anything and the listeners, like put your hand in on your belly and chest and notice where you're breathing. And I want to speak to, women too. A lot of us were taught, right? Suck it in. So of
Mm,
course we end up breathing from our chest because when we breathe from our bellies, what happened? Well, our diaphragm expands.
yeah.
So most of us are already walking around activated. So start breathing slowly into your diaphragm through your nose, picturing it like you're, blowing up a balloon and then blowing out a candle. And it's going to be hard at first because you're not used to it, right? You've been
Mm.
walking around activating your system for so long, but that small thing is huge, right?
Wow, that's such
Huge.
a simple technique that you can pretty much do anywhere. I
Yep.
absolutely love that. All right, so we've got you move into breath work, you start to release some of those traumas that are stored in your body. You start to have a greater awareness of how your body works so that you can calm your nervous system. And you mentioned there's a third benefit. What was that?
Well, yeah, that just like wraps back around to what we were talking about. If you're able to release these things that a lot of times we think like, oh, well, who am I? Or what am I going to be? And it's like those things were never you to begin with. They were just there to protect you. So you're really coming back to self. And again, if what we were talking about is I'm afraid of myself, I'm ultimately afraid I'm not going to like me, that others aren't going to like me. What am I going to be without these things? Well, you're gonna like you. I'm pretty confident, like you're gonna like yourself and you're gonna actually be able to step into that true embodiment of self, that confidence of self, getting to enjoy the things that are around you because all of that other stuff, you're really just trying to numb and protect. And so if you're numbing and protecting the sadness, the anger, the hurts, you can't fully experience the joy and the love and the happiness. You don't get to pick.
Yeah. And I can absolutely say from experience that I loved myself a whole lot more when I got rid of all of that mind BS that was telling me that I was not enough and that I needed to be somebody who I wasn't and that I needed to hide certain parts of myself in order to be acceptable. And so that is beautiful. Now, if people want to start trying breath work, you have a way for them to do that. Can you tell us more about your 5-day breathwork challenge?
Yeah. So, a lot of times people will think like, oh, breathwork's going to be this long journey, which it can be a journey process. And also, just like we were saying, just changing your breath. Well, there's other ways. You can get a system up that you could do 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Like you can find what you need. But what I have for you for free is a 5-day breathwork challenge where it's really just teaching you the fundamentals of breathwork that you can go back and use them and get yourself acquainted with it. Start getting acquainted with yourself and getting curious to what breathwork really could do for you in your life.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So I'm going to put the link in the description so that everybody can find it. And do you have a website? What is your website?
Yeah, my website is abigailluvisi.com. You can literally find me on pretty much any platform at Abigail Luvisi.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there any last thought you would like to leave our audience with before we sign off?
Trust yourself and lean into it because I know that if you take the time to practice and try it, it's going to be profound what you see. Just doing breath work. I started doing breath work every day, the first thing that I do when I wake up, and it has completely changed my life. Just a few minutes a day. So I'd encourage anyone to do the same and see what it does for you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Abigail, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My life is a total B word. Balanced. Subscribe below and let's see if your life can be the same.
Like getting excited and my brain's like going. Okay, where were we?